What if I told you that the gentle breeze on your face right now contains more kinetic energy than a speeding freight train? That every breath you take has traveled around the entire planet at least 7 times? And that the calm weather outside your window is actually the result of forces so violent they make nuclear explosions look like firecrackers? Here's what will blow your mind. Weather isn't just something that happens to our planet. Weather is our planet's way of staying alive. Every cloud, every gust of wind, every raindrop is part of a massive planetary life support system that's been running continuously for over 4 billion years. And you're not just observing this system. You're actively participating in it right now. By the end of this video, you'll discover how your morning coffee is connected to lightning strikes in Antarctica, why hurricanes are actually cosmic, refrigerators, and the shocking truth about what weather will look like when humans become a multi-planetary species. But first, we need to destroy everything you think you know about the air around you. If you're ready to see weather the way NASA scientists do, as one of the most beautiful and terrifying phenomena in the universe, hit that subscribe button. Because we're about to rewrite reality. What if I told you that you're currently living at the bottom of an ocean so deep it extends 60 miles above your head, so dense it weighs 5.5 quadrillion tons, and so violent it moves at speeds that would tear apart any building ever constructed? This ocean is our atmosphere, and here's the first mind-blown moment. The air pressing down on your body right now exerts the same force as a 16-pound bowling ball sitting on every square inch of your skin. You don't feel it because you're perfectly adapted to it, like a deep-sea creature adapted to crushing ocean depths. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a tiny creature living on the ocean floor, looking up at the massive weight of water above you. That's exactly where you are right now, except instead of water, it's air. And just like the ocean has currents, tides, and storms, our atmospheric ocean has winds, pressure systems, and weather. In 1643, Italian physicist Evangelista Torricelli proved this atmospheric pressure exists when he created the first barometer. But here's what's fascinating. Torricelli didn't just measure air pressure. He discovered that we live inside a fluid system that behaves according to the same principles as any other fluid. This revelation laid the groundwork for understanding that weather is really just fluid dynamics on a planetary scale. But here's where it gets crazy. This atmospheric ocean doesn't just sit there. It's constantly moving, and the forces driving that movement are so powerful they dwarf human civilization. Coming up, we'll discover why your local weather is actually controlled by events happening at the edge of space. Every molecule of air you just breathed has been inside other living things an average of 8,000 times. The oxygen in your lungs, right now, might have been exhaled by a dinosaur 100 million years ago, photosynthesized by an ancient tree, or created by microscopic ocean bacteria. Weather isn't just moving air, it's the planet's respiratory system. Here's something you can test right now. Hold your hand out flat, palm up. The column of air pressing down on your palm weighs about 15 pounds. That's like holding a bowling ball that you can't feel because the pressure is perfectly balanced. This invisible weight is what drives every weather pattern on Earth. Here's what will blow your mind. Weather doesn't actually start on Earth. It starts 93 million miles away in the core of a star. That's converting 600 million tons of hydrogen into helium every second, creating more energy in 1 second than human civilization has used in its entire history. The sun doesn't just heat our planet randomly. It creates a precise thermal engine that operates on principles that would make any mechanical engineer weep with envy. Here's the shocking truth. Earth's weather system is actually a massive heat engine trying to achieve thermal equilibrium, and it will never succeed, which is exactly why we're alive. Think of it like this. Imagine a massive pot of water, heated unevenly, with one side over a blazing fire and the other side in a freezer. The water would constantly swirl and churn, trying to even out the temperature, but never succeeding because of the constant heating and cooling. That's exactly what our atmosphere does, except the fire is tropical solar radiation and the freezer is the polar regions. In 1735, George Hadley figured out why trade winds blow the way they do, discovering what we now call Hadley cells, massive atmospheric circulation patterns that move heat from the equator toward the poles. But here's what Hadley couldn't have known. He had discovered the fundamental operating principle of planetary climate systems throughout the universe. But wait, there's a cosmic twist that changes everything. Because Earth spins, every moving air mass gets deflected by something called the Coriolis effect. This means every breeze you feel, every cloud formation, every storm system is being constantly twisted by the rotation of the planet itself. You're literally feeling the spin of the Earth through the weather. Want to see the Coriolis effect in action? Watch water drain from your bathtub tonight. But here's the shocker. The famous water swirls differently in different hemispheres. Thing is actually a myth for small drains. The Coriolis effect only becomes significant for large-scale phenomena like hurricanes and jet streams. This is why hurricanes spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-bending. This cosmic heat engine doesn't just create weather patterns. It's actually created the conditions that allow complex life to exist. Coming up, we'll discover how clouds are living entities and why rain is actually one of the most sophisticated chemical engineering processes in the universe. What if I told you that every cloud you see is actually a living, breathing entity that actively makes decisions about when and where to rain? That clouds have life cycles, behaviors, and even primitive forms of communication. Here's something that will change how you see clouds forever. A single cumulus cloud, just one of those puffy white clouds, contains the same amount of water as 100 million gallons in your bathtub. That seemingly light, fluffy thing floating above you weighs as much as 80 elephants, and it's staying airborne through principles of physics, so elegant that we're still discovering new aspects of how they work. But here's where it gets truly mysterious. For water droplets to form clouds, they need something called condensation nuclei, tiny particles around which water vapor can condense. These particles can be dust, pollen, salt from ocean spray, or even bacteria. Yes, you heard that right. Some clouds literally form around living microorganisms that are actively participating in the weather system. In 2008, atmospheric scientist Brent Christner discovered that some bacteria, particularly Pseudomonas syringae, are incredibly efficient at triggering ice crystal formation in clouds. These bacteria might actually be manipulating weather patterns to create the conditions they need to spread and reproduce. We're potentially looking at one of the most sophisticated biological weather control systems on the planet. Think of it like this. Imagine a massive, three-dimensional factory suspended in the sky. This factory takes in raw materials, water vapor, dust, bacteria, processes them through temperature and pressure changes, and produces finished products: rain, snow, hail. But unlike human factories, cloud factories are powered by solar energy, operate in zero gravity, and can relocate themselves anywhere on the planet. Here's what's truly mind-bending about rain. For a water droplet in a cloud to become large enough to fall as rain, it needs to collide and merge with about 1 million other droplets. The probability calculations for this happening randomly are astronomical, yet it happens billions of times every second across the planet. Rain is essentially a statistical miracle occurring continuously. But clouds and rain are just the beginning. Coming up, we'll explore how lightning is actually the Earth's way of communicating with space, and why every thunderstorm is performing electromagnetic surgery on the planet's electrical field. Next time you see a cloud, Try this. Estimate its size, then multiply by 1,000 to get a rough idea of how much water it contains. That innocent-looking cloud probably holds enough water to supply a small city for a day. Here's what will blow your mind. Lightning isn't just a random electrical discharge. It's actually the Earth's planetary nervous system firing. Every lightning bolt is the planet literally thinking, processing electrical imbalances, and maintaining the global electrical circuit that keeps our entire biosphere functioning. At any given moment, there are about 2,000 thunderstorms occurring simultaneously around the planet, generating roughly 100 lightning strikes per second. This creates a continuous electrical current of about 1,000 amperes flowing through the Earth's atmosphere. Essentially, our planet is a massive electrical generator that never stops running. Asterisk, asterisk. Here's something most people never learn. Earth maintains a constant electrical field of about 100 volts per meter near the surface. This field is maintained by thunderstorms acting like batteries in a global electrical circuit. You are literally living inside a planetary electrical system, and lightning is the maintenance crew keeping it running. In 1752, Benjamin Franklin didn't just prove lightning was electrical. He discovered that the Earth itself is an electrical entity. But the full implications weren't understood until 1886, when Lord Kelvin calculated the global electrical circuit. What Franklin started, Kelvin completed. The realization that weather and planetary electricity are inseparable phenomena. Formation of lightning is one of the most spectacular examples of self-organization in nature. Ice crystals and thunderclouds collide and create electrical charges through a process called triboelectric charging. The cloud literally builds up electrical potential until it exceeds the breakdown voltage of air, about 3 million volts per meter. When this happens, the air itself becomes conductive, creating a plasma channel hotter than the surface of the sun. Think of it like this. Imagine the Earth is a massive heart with an irregular electrical rhythm. Thunderstorms are like natural defibrillators, sending massive electrical shocks through the system to maintain the proper electrical balance. Without lightning, the planet's electrical field would gradually dissipate, and the consequences for life would be catastrophic. But here's where it gets truly cosmic. Lightning doesn't just affect Earth. It creates radio waves that travel through space and can be detected by satellites and even spacecraft near other planets. Every lightning bolt you see is actually the Earth broadcasting its electrical activity to the cosmos. We're essentially living on a planet that's constantly sending electrical messages into space. Lightning is just one way the Earth communicates with space. Coming up, we'll discover how hurricanes are actually cosmic refrigerators that prevent our planet from becoming like Venus, and why the most powerful weather systems on Earth are driven by forces originating in the depths of space. If I told you that hurricanes, those terrifying, destructive monsters that dominate news cycles, are actually Earth's air conditioning system? That without hurricanes, our planet would become uninhabitably hot, and the tropics would be lifeless wastelands where nothing could survive? Here's something that will completely change how you think about hurricanes. A single hurricane releases energy equivalent to 200 times the entire electrical generating capacity of human civilization. In one day, a hurricane releases as much energy as the United States uses in 6 months. Yet this seemingly destructive force is actually performing one of the most essential functions for planetary habitability. Hurricanes are massive heat engines that transport thermal energy from the tropics toward the poles. Without this heat transport system, the equatorial regions would become so hot that water would boil, while the polar regions would become so cold that even the atmosphere would freeze. Hurricanes literally prevent Earth from becoming a planet of extremes where life could not exist. In 1948, meteorologist Jules Charny developed the mathematical framework for understanding hurricanes as heat engines. His equations revealed that Hurricanes are self-organizing systems that spontaneously emerge when certain thermodynamic conditions are met. Charney essentially discovered that hurricanes are not random weather events. They're inevitable consequences of physics on a rotating, heated planet. Here's where the cosmic connection becomes clear. Hurricanes can only form because Earth rotates. The Coriolis effect provides the initial spin, but once a hurricane starts rotating, it becomes a self-reinforcing system. The faster it spins, the more efficiently it transports heat, which provides more energy for spinning faster. It's a feedback loop that connects the rotation of the planet directly to the weather system. Think of it like this. Imagine your house has no air conditioning, but it has a series of massive fans that constantly move hot air from the furnace room to the cold basement. Hurricanes are essentially planet-sized fans that move hot air from the Earth's furnace room, the tropics, to the cold basement, the polar regions. They're destructive locally, but globally essential. The eye of a hurricane is one of the most remarkable structures in meteorology. In the eye wall, winds can exceed 200 miles per hour, yet the center remains calm. This creates a vertical tunnel of relative tranquility surrounded by the most violent winds on Earth. The eye wall is essentially a naturally occurring tornado that's been stretched vertically to heights of 50,000 feet or more. From space, hurricanes look like massive spiral galaxies rotating in the Earth's atmosphere. This similarity isn't coincidental. Both hurricanes and spiral galaxies are examples of self-organizing systems governed by rotation and energy gradients. Hurricanes are essentially atmospheric galaxies, complete with spiral arms and central cores. But hurricanes are just one example of how weather connects to cosmic forces. Coming up, we'll discover how the jet stream is actually controlled by the temperature difference between Earth and space, and why your local weather is determined by events happening 60 miles above your head. Here's what will blow your mind. The weather in your backyard is actually controlled by rivers of air flowing at 200 miles per hour, 6 miles above your head, driven by the temperature difference between Earth and the frozen vacuum of space. The jet stream isn't just fast-moving air. It's a planetary boundary layer where Earth's atmosphere meets space. These rivers of air are created by the sharp temperature gradient between the warm lower atmosphere and the near absolute zero temperatures of space. Every twist and turn of the jet stream is Earth's atmosphere responding to cosmic conditions. Jet stream moves more air in 1 hour than the Amazon River moves water in an entire year. These atmospheric rivers are so massive that they carry weather systems across entire continents. When the jet stream meanders, it can trap weather patterns in place for weeks, creating droughts, floods, heat waves, and cold snaps. During World War II, Japanese meteorologist Wasaburo Ishii discovered the jet stream while tracking high-altitude balloons. But it was American meteorologist Carl Gustav Rossby who explained how jet streams form through what we now call Rossby waves, planetary-scale waves in the atmosphere, caused by Earth's rotation and the temperature difference between poles. And equator, the polar vortex, that infamous weather pattern that brings Arctic air to temperate regions, is actually just the jet stream taking a detour. When the jet stream weakens or becomes wavy, it allows Arctic air to spill southward. The polar vortex events that freeze entire continents are actually caused by weakening of the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and space. Think of it like this. Imagine a highway system in the sky where traffic moves at 200 miles per hour and carries weather instead of cars. The jet stream is like the main interstate, with on-ramps and off-ramps where weather systems enter and exit. When there's a traffic jam in this atmospheric highway, weather patterns get stuck in place. Here's something that will change how you think about climate change. As the Arctic warms, the temperature difference between the poles and equator decreases, which weakens the jet stream. A weaker jet stream becomes more wavy and unstable, which paradoxically can bring more extreme weather to temperate regions, including more severe cold snaps. The jet stream is also influenced by space weather. Solar flares and cosmic ray variations can affect the temperature structure of the upper atmosphere, which in turn affects jet stream behavior. Your local weather is literally connected to solar activity happening 93 million miles away. The jet stream is just one example of how Earth's weather system extends far beyond what we can see. Coming up, we'll explore how weather patterns are connected across the entire planet in ways that would make chaos theorists weep with joy, and why a butterfly in Brazil really can cause a tornado in Texas. What if I told you that the coffee you drank this morning is mathematically connected to typhoons in the Pacific, dust storms in the Sahara, and ice melting in Antarctica? That weather is actually a single, planet-spanning system where every component affects every other component in ways so complex that they challenge our understanding of causality itself. In 1961, meteorologist Edward Lorenz was running weather prediction models when he discovered something that would revolutionize our understanding of complex systems. When he rounded a number from 0.506127 to 0.506, the entire weather prediction changed dramatically. This tiny change, smaller than the measurement error in any real weather instrument, created completely different weather patterns weeks later. Lorenz's discovery gave birth to the famous butterfly effect, the idea that a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil could theoretically cause a tornado in Texas. But here's what most people don't understand. This isn't just a metaphor. It's a mathematical reality, describing how Earth's weather system actually works. Weather scientists have discovered teleconnections, ways that weather patterns in one part of the world directly influence weather thousands of miles away. El Niño in the Pacific affects rainfall in Africa. Arctic ice melt influences the monsoons in India. The entire planet's weather system is so interconnected that there's no such thing as truly local weather. Here's a perfect example. Every year, dust storms in the Sahara Desert carry an estimated 27 million tons of dust across the Atlantic Ocean to the Amazon rainforest. This dust contains phosphorus and other nutrients essential for plant growth. The Amazon rainforest is literally fertilized by African dust storms. Without Saharan dust, the Amazon would be a much smaller, less diverse ecosystem. Think of it like this. Imagine Earth's weather system as a massive nervous system where every part is connected to every other part through atmospheric nerves. When something happens in one location, electrical signals in the form of pressure waves, temperature changes, and atmospheric disturbances propagate through the entire system, affecting everything else. The equations that describe weather systems are some of the most beautiful in all of mathematics. The Navier-Stokes equations, which describe fluid flow, contain infinite complexity. Solving these equations perfectly would require computing power greater than the total number of atoms in the observable universe. Yet nature solves them effortlessly, billions of times per second, creating the weather patterns we see. This mathematical complexity creates a fundamental paradox. We understand the physics of weather perfectly, yet we can't predict it accurately. Beyond about 2 weeks. This isn't because our models are bad. It's because the atmosphere is fundamentally unpredictable beyond a certain time horizon due to its chaotic nature. Here's something that connects directly to your life. Human activities are now large enough to affect global weather patterns. The heat island effect of cities, massive irrigation projects, deforestation, and industrial emissions are all becoming significant factors in global weather patterns. Humans have become a geological force affecting planetary weather systems. Understanding weather as a global system is just the beginning. Coming up, we'll explore how this knowledge changes everything about your place in the universe, and why weather science reveals profound truths about existence itself. Now that you understand weather as a planetary System driven by cosmic forces. Let's talk about what this means for you. Every breath you take, every step you walk, every decision you make is happening within this incredible system that connects you to forces spanning from the core of the sun to the edge of space. Think about your morning routine differently now. When you stepped outside today, you entered a dynamic fluid system containing 5.5 quadrillion tons of matter, moving at velocities that would destroy any human structure. The fact that you can casually walk through this system, that it supports you rather than crushes you, is one of the most remarkable things in the universe. That you carry your own personal weather system with you. Your body heat creates convection currents. Your breathing adds water vapor to the local atmosphere, and your movement creates tiny pressure waves. You're not just experiencing weather, you're actively participating in creating it. Every person on Earth is a small weather generator contributing to the global system. Remember that every molecule of oxygen you breathe has been cycled through the global weather system. That oxygen was created by photosynthesis somewhere on Earth, released into the atmosphere, mixed by global wind patterns, and delivered to your exact location by the planetary circulation system. You're literally breathing the planet's metabolic byproducts, processed and delivered by the weather system. Many people report being able to feel weather changes before they happen. Joint pain before storms, headaches before pressure changes, mood changes with seasonal light variations. This isn't imagination. You're actually sensing real physical changes in atmospheric pressure, electromagnetic fields, and ion concentrations that precede weather changes. Here's the profound shift. Understanding weather science places you in a cosmic context. You're not separate from nature. You're an integral part of a planet-spanning system that extends from the Earth's core to the edge of space. Every weather event you experience connects you directly to solar physics, planetary dynamics, and cosmic forces. This knowledge changes how you can interact with weather. Understanding pressure systems helps you predict weather changes hours before official forecasts. Knowing about heat islands helps you choose cooler routes through cities. Understanding wind patterns helps you optimize everything from kite flying to energy efficiency. Recognizing cloud types gives you advance warning of weather changes. With this understanding, climate change becomes personal in a new way. You're not just observing climate change, you're living inside a planetary system that's being fundamentally altered. Every weather event you experience now carries information about how this ancient system is adapting to human influence. But there's an even deeper level to this story. Coming up, we'll explore how weather science reveals fundamental truths about complexity, emergence, and what it means to be conscious beings living inside a planetary system. Weather science doesn't just teach us about meteorology. It reveals profound truths about the nature of reality itself. The same principles that govern weather systems also govern consciousness, evolution, economics, and the structure of the universe. Weather is one of the most perfect examples of emergence. The way simple components following simple rules can create incredibly complex behaviors. Individual air molecules following basic physics create hurricanes, jet streams, and global climate patterns that no single molecule knows about. This is the same principle by which neurons create consciousness and atoms create life. Here's something that will change how you think about knowledge itself. Weather systems are so sensitive to initial conditions that the very act of measuring them changes them. Weather stations, satellites, and human observers all slightly alter the systems they're trying to measure. We can never have perfect knowledge of weather because perfect knowledge would require changing the weather. Human consciousness excels at pattern recognition, which is why we find weather fascinating and sometimes frightening. Our brains evolved to detect patterns in complex systems as a survival mechanism. When you look at clouds and see shapes, or feel uneasy before a storm, you're experiencing the same pattern recognition systems that helped your ancestors survive in complex Natural environments. Weather exists on timescales from microseconds, lightning formation, to millennia, ice age cycles, and spatial scales from millimeters, raindrop formation, to planetary, global circulation. Human consciousness exists at one narrow slice of these scales, which is why weather often seems unpredictable or mysterious. We're like bacteria trying to understand the circulation patterns of the ocean they live in. Weather is completely deterministic. Every molecule follows precise physical laws, yet completely unpredictable beyond a certain time horizon. This paradox reveals something fundamental about the nature of reality. Perfect knowledge and perfect predictability are not the same thing. The universe can be rule-based and mysterious simultaneously. Here's the most mind-bending aspect: Earth's weather system exists in an incredibly narrow range of parameters that allow complex chemistry and life to exist. If the weather system were slightly different, if the water cycle operated differently, if atmospheric pressure were higher or lower, if the greenhouse effect were stronger or weaker, life as we know it would be impossible. Both consciousness and weather are examples of self-organizing systems that maintain themselves far from thermodynamic equilibrium. Your consciousness, like a hurricane, is a stable pattern that emerges from the flow of energy through a complex system. When you think about weather, you're essentially one self-organizing system contemplating another. James Lovelock's Gaia hypothesis suggests that Earth's entire system, including weather, life, oceans, and geology, operates as a single self-regulating organism. From this perspective, weather isn't something that happens to life. Weather is life at a planetary scale. You're not separate from the weather system. You're part of its self-awareness. This philosophical understanding of weather opens up even bigger questions about humanity's future relationship with planetary systems. Coming up, we'll explore what weather will be like when humans become a multi-planetary species and how understanding Earth's weather system is preparing us for the cosmos. Everything you've learned about Earth's weather system is preparing humanity for one of the greatest challenges in our future: learning to live on other worlds with completely alien weather systems. The principles of planetary meteorology you now understand will be essential for human survival on Mars, Venus, the moons of Jupiter, and worlds we haven't even discovered yet. Mars has weather, but it's nothing like Earth's. Martian dust storms can cover the entire planet for months, with winds reaching 60 miles per hour. The atmospheric pressure is so low that water boils at room temperature. Yet the same fundamental physics that drives Earth's weather, solar heating, pressure, gradients, the Coriolis effect, also drives Martian weather. Understanding Earth's weather system gives us the tools to understand and eventually live with Martian weather. Venus shows us what happens when a greenhouse effect runs out of control. Surface temperatures reach 900 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt. Lead and atmospheric pressure is 90 times greater than Earth's. Venus is essentially what Earth would become if our weather system failed. Studying Earth's delicate atmospheric balance helps us understand how to prevent this outcome and how to potentially terraform other worlds. Europa, Enceladus, and Titan, moons of Jupiter and Saturn, have their own forms of weather. Titan has methane rain and hydrocarbon snow. Europa has water vapor plumes erupting from its subsurface ocean. These alien weather systems follow the same fundamental physics as Earth's, but with different materials and energy sources. Beyond planetary atmospheres, there's space weather, solar flares, cosmic ray storms, and magnetic field variations that affect everything from satellite communications to astronaut safety. As humans expand into space, understanding space weather becomes as important as exoplanet. Understanding terrestrial weather. The ultimate application of weather science might be terraforming, deliberately modifying the weather systems of other planets to make them habitable. This would require understanding and controlling planetary-scale weather systems with precision. We're only beginning to develop. Every hurricane, every thunderstorm, every cloud formation on Earth is teaching us principles we'll need to engineer. Habitable climates on other worlds. Carl Sagan's pale blue dot. Speech takes on new meaning when you understand weather science. That tiny point of light in the darkness contains the only known weather system in the universe that creates and maintains conditions for complex life. Earth's weather system isn't just rare. It might be unique in the observable universe. Here's the ultimate revelation. You are a conscious being created by a weather system, living inside a weather system, contemplating weather systems. The same cosmic forces that create hurricanes and jet streams also created the conditions that allowed your brain to evolve and your consciousness to emerge. You are literally the universe becoming aware of its own weather. Let's bring everything together. You started this journey thinking weather was just what happened outside your window. Now you understand that weather is a planetary life support system powered by a star, a cosmic heat engine preventing Earth from becoming uninhabitable, a chaotic system connecting every location on Earth, a self-organizing phenomenon that maintains the conditions for life, a laboratory teaching us principles we'll need to survive on other worlds. You are not separate from this system. You are this system becoming conscious of itself. Every breath you take connects you to every other living thing on Earth through the global circulation system. Every weather event you experience connects you to cosmic forces spanning light years of space. Tomorrow morning, when you step outside, you'll be entering a dynamic system containing more energy than human civilization has ever produced, more complexity than the most advanced supercomputers can fully model, and more beauty than any human art has ever captured. The ordinary act of checking the weather becomes an act of cosmic contemplation.